actions of two city council members have some wondering whether our local government leaders can be fair when doing the public's business. Words like scum and crazy Israeli have been used by a councilman to describe a local developer. Chief Investigator Darcy Spears exposes allegations of bias, prejudice, and corruption in a case that's costing taxpayers millions.
Badlands might be the most aptly named piece of property in Las Vegas. There's a vicious battle raging over the defunct golf course in Queensridge, one of the valley's most exclusive communities.
You've never seen anything like this before in the history of the city of Las Vegas. There's never been a project like this that has been mishandled, that has been the subject of more government abuse than this project.
Is to do a 5-acre.
Developer Johan Lowy owns the land in question, which is zoned for residential development.
It is so hard to believe what's happening here.
It's also hard to believe what's being said about Lowy as he's come before the city council seeking permission to develop Badlands. In profanity-laced emails and text messages, City Councilman Bob Coffin uses a string of expletives to describe Lowy. In this August email sent to the mayor, council, and others, Coffin also writes that Lowy appears to be in the grip of several mental disorders. In one text message, he calls him scum and asks if there's intel on him, writing, "Dirt will be handy if I need to get rough." In another text, Coffin calls Lowy a crazy Israeli. Mark Hutchison is Lowy's lawyer.
You know, the bias and the prejudice and just the animosity that was expressed in those emails alone is troubling.
Listen as Coffin addresses Lowy in a city council meeting.
That you have rights, but you've got to stop treating these people like a bunch of unruly Palestinians getting thrown in, a concrete block, a settlement thrown into their land right there.
What Coffin equates to a concrete block settlement are Lowy's development plans, which include high-end mega estates with huge lots, trees, ponds, and walking trails on the now defunct golf course, something the county assessor determined would convert the property to a higher use. At least one council person has expressed some approval.
I want to tell you, I don't think Johan is an ogre. I think he's a brilliant designer.
But he and his attorney claim council members Coffin and Steve Soroka are roadblocks, acting on behalf of the wealthiest and most powerful people in Queensridge, which includes a veritable who's who of gaming industry magnates, people who don't want the property developed, even though it's zoned for just that.
Over my dead body will I allow a project that will set a precedent, that will ripple across the community, that those property values do not just be impacted in Queensridge, but throughout the community. I ask you to find that moral courage to stand up.
You feel like he's a puppet?
He's absolutely a puppet. He's a puppet on a string.
The story is complicated, so stay with me. The case has landed in federal court, where Soroka admits he was motivated to run for city council due to his concern over how the city was handling the Badlands project. But he claims all his votes on the issue have been because he believed it was personally the right thing to do with his constituency and community in mind. Lowy's lawsuit seeks to disqualify Coffin and Soroka from voting on an ordinance that Councilwoman Michelle Fiore has dubbed the Johan Lowy Bill. Sponsored by Steve Soroka, it would amend city code regarding repurposing of certain golf courses and open spaces. Lowy's team says if it passes, he'd be hamstrung.
But the intent of the city is to extort this piece of property from us through this ordinance, to this unconstitutional and illegal ordinance.
The proposal claims it's a comprehensive approach to dealing with open space issues, but Lowy's team believes there's something more sinister going on. This city document I obtained shows plans for potential proceeds from an unrelated lawsuit. On the list, a $15 million line item for the city to purchase and operate Badlands. We asked the city about that, but not a single council person, including the mayor, would talk, citing the ongoing litigation.
I think that the public ought to be very concerned whether or not the city council is either acting in the public's best interest or a handful of wealthy individuals' best interest.
Councilwoman Fiore expressed a concern in January.
I would like an accounting of the last 2 years on taxpayers' dollars on how much money we have literally spent having our chambers be a courtroom for the richest men in Las Vegas.
In just city staff time, it's nearly $500,000 tax dollars. When you factor in outside lawyers the city has hired.
And I know that it's in the millions.
In court documents, both Coffin and Soroka deny having any bias or prejudice, though Coffin admits using rather colorful language regarding Lowy.
On Thursday, a federal judge ruled that Coffin and Soroka can vote on the open space ordinance, saying to prevent that would interfere with the process of democratic government. And a new district court decision supported the city's denials of Lowy's applications. The battle will now be headed to higher courts, and taxpayers will continue to foot the bill. Darcy Spears, 13 Action News.